Today, I'm going to be creating my own France versus Germany scenario. Now, I just want to say that this video was voted on by my Discord server. Sometimes I'll put out polls over there, and you guys can choose which videos you want to see next. So if you guys would be interested in joining my Discord server, there's a link for it in the description. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy it, and let's get started. Now, this scenario is going to be taking place in 2021. So France and Germany both have their current military power. So we have Germany declaring war on France. At first, Germany starts to push into France, taking a lot of their border area. Now this was a surprise invasion. France was not ready for this. So the Germans are moving pretty quickly through this area, even though it's kind of hilly. I also just want to throw out there that NATO is not a thing in this universe. We're going to be disregarding NATO and the EU, because if NATO and the EU were a thing, then this conflict would be very different. I'm also going to try not to get other countries involved. I just want to keep it between these two countries and go into more detail with the battles. But I probably am still going to throw in some other countries here and there. Anyway, Germany continues its push into France slowly but surely. Eventually, though, the French start to mobilize and start pushing back the Germans. Eventually, France manages to push Germany completely out of its borders and prepare an invasion of Germany. At this time, though, Germany starts to send all of its enforcements down to the border in order to set up a defensive position. When France launches its invasion, it doesn't really go that well, and little to no border progress is made. So now we have a stalemate with little progress being made on every front. You can see here that the Germans managed to push into a little bit of France, and France managed to push a little bit into Germany. Now, if anyone's wondering where I got this map from, I traced it off an image on Google because Google does not have high resolution pictures of Europe, which is kind of surprising to me. But this is the best I could do, so if you're wondering where I got my map, then that's your answer. Anyway, Germany starts to make plans to go through Luxembourg and possibly Belgium, just like they did in World War I and World War II. Germany also signs a non-aggression agreement with the UK in order to prevent them from getting involved in the war. Now, for Germany, this was a pretty smart move because now if they go through Belgium and Luxembourg, the British will not declare war on them. So now we have Germany declaring war on Belgium and Luxembourg. They swiftly start to push through into Belgium and Luxembourg. Now, this was a surprise invasion, so Belgium and Luxembourg are not ready for this, and Germany has some pretty successful battles when going through Belgium. When the Germans start pushing through, France starts to rearrange its troops and send them up north into Belgium. Now, since this is happening, some French troops down here are starting to pull back a little bit. So Germany takes advantage of this and starts to push back those French troops, eventually pushing them across the French border and back into France. So this is what the front line looks like so far. We have Germany pushing into France, taking a lot of the Ardennes region and a lot of Belgium and all of Luxembourg. Now, just real quick, I want to pause and talk about something that happened recently. So if you don't want to hear about that, then you can go ahead and skip ahead to the war scenario. So recently I got back from vacation and I came back and turned my computer on to find that Windows could not log into my account. So that's pretty annoying. I look up a lot of videos about it and I do a lot of things. I go into safe mode. I do all that stuff. I changed some code. I think I changed code. I don't know what I did. But none of it really worked. So after about 2 days of not having a computer, I decided to just factory reset the thing and just go from there. So I did that, and I did it successfully. I even got some of my data back, which was pretty nice. So if you notice anything different about this video, like quality-wise, this video camera looks a lot better, so that's nice. But if you guys notice any changes, then that's why. It's because everything got reset. This camera is 30 FPS, but it's actually doing way better than it used to. It looks really slow, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, back to the war scenario. So Germany continues its push into France, taking a lot of the region over here as French troops start to fall back. After completely annexing Belgium, Germany starts to push into northern France and starts threatening Paris. It is at this point, though, that Germany starts to run out of manpower, as when comparing the French and German militaries, France does better in pretty much every area. So France makes a plan to cut off all of the German troops over here in northern Belgium and northern France. Basically what they want to do is push a spearhead right through Belgium, cutting them off and cutting off their supply lines. The only risk factor in this plan is that France has to take troops off of its front line in order to push the spearhead through Belgium. So when the plan is activated, France starts sending its troops all the way over and into Belgium. Now, the only problem with this is that they start losing land to the Germans in the east. So Germany has even more success pushing through France and even start getting closer and closer to Paris. The good news for France, though, is that a lot of the German army is over here in northern France and Belgium. So the French troops start to squeeze in and push the Germans out. Some evacuate by sea, but some are forced to surrender. and eventually France gains control of the region. So now France is on the offense and is starting to push back Germany. France has some stunning victories in Belgium and Luxembourg and managed to push the Germans completely out and even pushing into German territory. The French see another opportunity to cut off the Germans and make them surrender, so once again they take troops off the front line and push right through and manage to cut off Germany from their troops over here. Now, of course, this was costly. They were taking troops off their front line, so Germany was able to gain some lands over here in France, and were able to push France completely out of Germany and pushing them back into Luxembourg and Belgium. This isn't too terrible news for France, though, because a lot of the German army is over here in France. So this is the first German army they took out over here, and they're about to take out the second German army. Little by little, they start to squeeze in, and eventually the Germans surrender. They swiftly move north and take out a majority of the population area in the west, and start pushing east. So this is what the current front line looks like. We have France making a major push into Germany. Now this push isn't only backed by France, it's also backed by Belgium and Luxembourg. Now I'm not even sure if Luxembourg has an army. I would imagine so, but I don't imagine that it's too big. So France is now pushing northeast, taking a large portion of Germany's important cities. After Germany loses about half their country and a majority of their troops, they surrender over to France. So we have a French victory here, with France, Belgium, and Luxembourg winning against Germany. So when it comes to the peace treaty, we have France taking over a majority of Baden-Württemberg. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm not German, so I probably didn't pronounce it right. And up north, we have Belgium and Luxembourg taking part of the Rhineland. Now, this probably looks pretty ugly on the map, but I mean, how else would France take land from Germany? It's just that Switzerland is right here. If Switzerland wasn't right here, then it would probably look a lot better. So France wins in this scenario, but just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and draw up a peace treaty where Germany wins. So here it is. This is where Germany wins. Now, they didn't win in the actual scenario. This is just for fun. So they take a part of their old German imperial lands. Is that what it was? They also take over Luxembourg and a part of Belgium. Now, Belgium would either probably want to join the Netherlands or France, and they might want to like form, I guess, Benny. It would just be Benny. So there it is. That is Germany versus France. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments. Once again, this video was voted on by my Discord server, so if you guys would like to have a little bit more control over the videos I post, there's a link for the server in the description. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.